Hello, this is Dr. Stanley Lang. Welcome to this broadcast, which is on the topic of gluten and glyphosate and palpitations. So one of the things I wanted just to share is that a lot of people don't realize that gluten can affect really every organ system in your body if you're sensitive to it. And more than 50% of people in the United States appear to have antibodies to gluten. So that means that our immune system is somewhat activated against this molecule. So gluten is a protein that's found in wheat, barley, and rye. And so you've probably heard of gluten sensitivity. So it's naturally not present in things that aren't wheat, barley, and rye. So when things say that they're gluten-free in the store, most of the time now, it's stuff that never did have gluten in it. It's not like the gluten was taken out of it. But what other doctors around the world have seen now for a long time is that gluten affects a whole lot more than the GI tract. In fact, there's evidence that it affects other organ systems even more profoundly. Dr. Perlmutter talks about how it's a major cause of brain dysfunction. And occasionally, people have cardiac symptoms that they really don't know where they're coming from. And one thing to consider is that you might actually be having a reaction to gluten and glyphosate. And why do I mix the two together? Because unfortunately, almost all of the grains in the United States are sprayed at some point along the line with glyphosate, which is an herbicide. But it's also used as a desiccating agent, which means that it dries out the grain rapidly, makes it easier to harvest. So a lot of times glyphosate isn't even being used for the purpose of killing weeds. But it does end up on the grain, and so the combination is what we're exposed to. And a lot of times it's pretty hard to figure out what you're reacting to. But I saw a patient today in follow-up after several months ago who had been having these strange palpitations, and the way that he described their relationship to meal times, it was pretty clear to me that he was reacting to something he was eating. And so I suggested that he go on a gluten-free diet, which he did do, and discovered that his symptoms completely went away. But what we talked about today was that we didn't really prove that it was gluten. It could be glyphosate that he was reacting to, because he pretty much eliminated the higher doses of glyphosate. Now, glyphosate is sprayed on so many things that we can't really have a glyphosate-free environment anymore, but it could be related to different levels of glyphosate that trigger symptoms, or it could be the combination that's causing the problem. The point is that when you're having issues that could be related to gluten, it also is possibly related to glyphosate. And so I just wanted to bring that up, and also that if you have palpitations intermittently, it's possible that it's related to these chemicals. And so a simple thing to do is to go on a gluten-free diet for 3 to 6 weeks and see what happens. And if your symptoms dramatically improve, you know it's one or both of those chemicals. Now, we went into how to figure that out, which one it is, in some detail today. I'm not going to go into that degree of detail, but I just want you to be aware that palpitations is one of the manifestations of gluten sensitivity. What's palpitation? It's where the heart, you feel the heart beating irregularly. And so it might be a skipping beat. It might be like the heart is pounding. And I'm not suggesting that you sit at home and be sitting through a heart attack while you're wondering whether you're having a gluten sensitivity. But if you're having a recurrent sensation like what I just described, it's possible that it's related to what you're eating. And one of the things that people are often eating that is triggering this, I believe, is gluten and glyphosate. So I wish you well, God bless, and have a great day.